Parents of P actors, when did you find out and how did you react? How do you deal with it?
Not really mainstream P, but a guy the first work with found out one of his female cousins was in the industry because their grandma accidentally Googled her granddaughter while trying to find her on Facebook, and the girl was doing cam shows and stuff using her real name. He didn't seem to care that much, but I guess their grandma was pissed.
Greater than doing cam shows and stuff using her real name. Oh no. No no no.
My son is actually in a few films, and has somewhat of a cult following, also my husband tells me. It shocked me at first. Not in a negative way, but more this is the same person who once as a kid threw a golf club at the girl he liked because he had absolutely no idea how to approach someone. As to the question of when I found out, it was my husband who came across it. He rushed home excitedly to tell me. He was apparently looking at P at work, because, why not, right? And thought it was hilarious that he found a doppelganger of our son. Then he saw the tattoo we've both seen many times, and he found it even funnier. He wanted to do a big surprise reveal that we knew. He's the type of man who doesn't take life too seriously and just has a good laugh. I think if I hadn't met him, this kind of thing would have made me feel negative. But I find myself in the same boat. We just think it's funny more than anything. We haven't told our son yet. We decided to think about if it would affect him negatively. Him not telling us and all that. But I honestly don't know how long my husband can keep from pranking my son about it.
Wait until he does, and then just be like, we know. We have the collection, and unfurl the DVDs.
There was a news story in 2014 about an 18-year-old gay P actor who was still in high school. Well, one of his classmates found his videos, which were on a pretty big mainstream gay site, and shared it with the whole school, and they expelled him. Turned out he was doing it to help his mom pay the bills, and she talked about how proud she was of him for helping her out. They eventually backtracked after the story was picked up by the national media. Link.
Why did the school even suspend him? It's really none of their business if what HES doing is legal.
My older sister did P for 2 years. She was caught when someone at my dad's work sent him a link. He opened it and boom. Family freak out. It spread like wildfire around our small city, 10,000 ppl. My parents cut ties because P is against almost everything they believe. They always gave her money for college, paid it all, rent and activities. They stopped paying for her education, rent all of it. My parents took her out of the will. I haven't seen her in years, but that basically ruined her life. She got into DG and is a meth addict God knows where now.
That's really depressing.
I want to see this same thread, but instead it's children of P stars answering.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that thread for children of sex workers. It was mostly really sad. Edit. Here you go everyone. Knock yourselves out. Link. Edit 2. Not sure how, but it looks like that link is broken, at least for some people. Attempt number 2. Link.
Years ago a colleague went to a job. The person calling was a P actress. She is not mega famous but known about. Anyway, it transpires she has a studio in the same house she lived in with her parents. Her dad is her manager, and apparently filmed quite a few of her earlier scenes. I recall thinking, what the actual F?
That's a WTF moment for sure.
My influencer cousin just started an account. Waiting to hear what her parents think of it.
Do you get a family discount?
Not a parent, but my sister did P for a couple years. My mum and me found out from an anonymous message, probably from one of mum's friends online. She asked me to check if it was true, so I did, and it was her. Mum called and my sister denied at first but then admitted it. She promised she was being safe and healthy and that we didn't have to worry. Mum was sad and disappointed and worried about her health mentally and physically. It was a difficult time for her. For me, I just pretended nothing was happening and tried not to worry. We were relieved when she got engaged and stopped her modeling. It's been several years now and my sister's life is completely different, but I think Mum is still worried for her and maybe blames herself a bit because of our struggles growing up. Edit. Thanks for the awards. To answer some questions, I watched enough of the video to confirm it was her and also searched her name to see how much stuff was online. My mum has never watched her videos. Her husband knew about her P work and encouraged her to stop, which she was planning on anyways. They have a kid and seem like they are happy.
Man, that must have been weird having your mom ask to check APO to see if your sister was in it. I'm not sure if I could have done that myself, so fair play to you.
People need to watch interviews of prostitutes and P stars on the Soft White Underbelly YouTube channel. It is a mixed bag. Some are very happy and successful and most are very traumatized and depressed. Link.
I binge watch Soft White Underbelly. Makes me realize how fortunate I am to have not dealt with the levels of trauma other people out there have. I couldn't imagine enduring some of the things these people talk about in their interviews. Son was in adult films, both as an actor and running a studio. He was in his mid-20s when he started, so definitely a grown adult. He told us right away. It certainly was not a choice we, husband and I, would have made, but it was his life. I did get to meet several people in the industry and they were all incredibly kind. Well-adjusted and very professional.
Damn, I had to scroll pretty far to get the first real answer.
The owner of the first company I worked for made his fortune making P-ography before starting the non-P-related business that I was hired at. I learned about it when I saw around the office the framed photos of him, his wife and his daughter at a P-ography convention in Las Vegas. His wife and daughter were not on-screen performers, but participated on the business side of it. They were all very open about their past business. Not nearly as scandalous as the question being asked, but it was a surprise.
What was his new business? Genuinely curious. Edit, Sigh. Never change. Reddit. Never change.
Software development. What else happens in California besides P production and software development anyway? Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley.
I am not a parent of a P actor, but my next-door neighbor was and we spent quite a while talking about her career. I won't name drop, but suffice to say she's no longer in the industry. Her so wasn't thrilled with it, so she took to doing one of the cam sites instead. Regardless, one of the things we spoke about was how her parents took it when they found out, not well. I don't recall how they found out. However, she got to talking to them, primarily about the pay, which was good, and they came to accept her decision in time. That said, they made it very clear to her that she was not to let her grandparents find out.
Damn.
My high school best friend left school at 17, moved out of her parents' house and started to do P. She is pretty well known and famous on P sites, however she comes from a traditional conservative background with parents who were always strict. Her parents found out only recently, after years of her doing P, as her father is a driving instructor and one of his students showed him videos of her doing P. Parents said that she was dead to them unfortunately.
Are we not going to talk about how weird it is that a student driver shared a P with the driving instructor?
I have a friend that started working as a prostitute when we were 16. Her parents found out when we were 20 and wanted to kill her. But then she paid off all of their debts and bought them a car and some jewelry. And then they loved her again. I remember asking her about that and she said to me, well, that just tells you what kind of people they both are. I was AW, but as soon as I gave them money I became their baby girl again, and I will never forget that sentence. She stopped doing that few years ago because she reached her goal, amount of money, don't know how much. She has her apartment and car and she paid for her college all on her own. Edit, escort, not a prostitute. Thanks for all upvotes and rewards. Also, this poo happens all around you, you just never found out. Teach your daughters to respect themselves and your sons to respect women around them. To all the people who insulted me in chat or private or whatever is called new on Reddit, don't know poo honestly, if you don't believe me fine, but what's with insults? What the F did I do to you?
But she paid off all of their debts and bought them a car and some jewelry. And then they loved her again. So who were the real prostitutes here?
My dad was friendly with a P actress years ago and recently found her on Facebook living in the US as a semi-famous sexual relationship therapist. Now my dad is technically ignorant, I'm amazed how he can even turn on his phone. Anyway, he decided to message her on Facebook and mention the crazy things she did while she was a P actress. As my dad was so technically ignorant, instead of private messaging, he posted messages on her page so her family and now respectable colleagues could all read the graphic details. She promptly unfriended him.
Asterisk technologically ignorant is what I think you were saying. Sorry, that confused me for a little while, like wait, why is he only technically ignorant? Until I reread it.
So, my kid. This is so strange to talk about. My daughter decided she wanted to be an adult model in a very specific and, in my opinion, weird segment of sex work. I won't get into exactly what that is because it embarrasses me to even think about it, let alone describe it to a bunch of strangers on the internet. Found out because she had been acting weird and buying strange poo. She was still living at home at the time, and she wasn't particularly careful about her social media. She had blocked me on her P account, but didn't block one of my friends, who informed me about it. Which, of course, that particular conversation was just so much fun. Anyways, confronted her on it about doing it in my home. Made her stop, took all her paraphernalia and put it in the garage and told her she could have it when she moved out. She no longer lives with us, and I don't know if she's returned to her sex work, and frankly I don't want to know. I do know she has a full-time job, and she has roommates, so hopefully she hasn't. I'm a pretty liberal guy and am completely okay with, though not myself a fan of, most fetishes, kinks, so when I say it was weird, trust me, it was effing weird. Edit. Okay, so everyone will stop asking. It was extreme age play. Diapers, bottles, pacifiers, and it was compounded by her meeting one of her fans in person, after we confronted her on the sex work in our home, and trying to hide the rendezvous. We figured out what she had been up to, talked with her about it, and then discovered that the guy was a convicted pedophile. Pulled him up on the state registry and everything. My daughter was 18 at the time, the guy in question was 39. Her mother and I were, justifiably I think, pissed.
We appreciate you overcoming the awkwardness of having to think about this experience and put into words. That said, with you emphasizing how weird this niche is, I'm very curious about what kind of fetish stuff she's doing.
Ooh, I got this. I did professional pee from 18 until I was like 22. Just about to turn 30 now. One night I had my friend come to a party at my parents' house. My friend did pee too. But she used a name really similar to her real name. My parents were weird and liked to Google all my friends. Well, they Googled her name and then came across her Twitter, and at the time we had planned on shooting together. So they found my pee Twitter. I didn't use my real name, but obviously they recognized my face. It was a very bad day. My parents are really conservative. They screamed at me for what seemed like forever and then kicked me out. I ended up homeless for a few months, then lived with my abusive boyfriend. Nowadays, I'm no longer doing professional pee and I live happily on the other side of the country from my parents. I have an actual job now. I'm on better terms with my parents now. We just don't bring up the pee stuff ever. Edit, I'm not posting or telling anyone my pee name. Not linking videos either.
Edit. This got more attention than I was ready for. I used too many personal details. In short, my sister is a sex worker and it tore the family apart. I have nothing against sex workers. I want them to be more protected and to be legitimized. The issues my family had with my sister's sex work is her history of awful mental health, and that she engages in dangerous sex work. I always want to say that not all sex workers become sex workers due to sexual abuse. I know a lot do, but it limits sex work and workers to see them all as victims. Perhaps my sister was abused, but I really don't know. If she was, I hope she gets the help she needs and deserves. Overall, I hope she, and all sex workers, can find themselves in less dangerous positions. Also, please stop saying I'm judgmental because I'm worried for her safety. Being judgmental about dangerous behavior is just a natural response.
I used to buy coffee from Chanel Preston at the coffee shop she managed before she went into adult films. It was a good coffee shop. She was a nice lady. TLDR. I have almost nothing to offer to this conversation, but I really wanted to participate.
To this, I can add that my wife used to work with Gemma Massey before she got a boob job, did glamour modeling and eventually became a P star. Wife said she was a really nice petite girl who only wanted some extra money and didn't want to sell her body, just pics. I guess the money was too much a temptation.
Well, not exactly to the question. A distant friend of mine worked as a hooker after school and job training. She told her dad, who was angered. Then she showed him how much she would make in her learned job and how much she gets for horizontal entrepreneurship. He agreed that she made the better choice.
Horizontal entrepreneurship. I will remember that phrase.
Not a parent, but knew the family at church for years who had a teenage daughter that played in the LFL lingerie Legends Football League. How she got into it, I have no idea, but her parents were in total denial. Her family were very conservative Christians. They actually left the church because it was too liberal. I remember seeing her dad on Facebook commenting something about being proud of his professional athlete daughter. I genuinely couldn't tell if he was not aware that booty shorts and brass are not the normal football uniform and that people aren't watching it for the athletics.
If LFL is P, then so is the cheerleading at every single NFL game.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.